Today, I want to talk about something that is serious, and it's something that I fear the most. And I'm going to go at it in couple different angles. So, I think there's a huge misconception of what fear is and what fear can do and how it can actually benefit you, but also sometimes how it cripples you. This video is coming to you from a subscriber. His name's Andy. I read your comments all the time, just so you know. Sure, there are a handful of people in there that are just complete tools because they're insecure and they're like keyboard warriors and still live in their mom's basement. But 99% of you are amazing human beings all around the world. And I think sometimes you need a shot in the arm of confidence and you need to hear someone's testimony. And when you hear somebody's story, it helps you overcome, right? Type one, if you've experienced that. Like when I'm trying to find the desire or the ability to go lose weight, I go watch people's stories, how they lost weight. And when I want to overcome something, I go watch other people's stories of how they overcame something. Um, this gentleman's name is Andy. This is what he wrote to me. Travis, you were a firefighter, and I'll bet pretty good at it. I was a military cop for 20 years, and yes, a few times I was scared. I know you have some experience in this, but could you speak to everyone and explain how fear can be used in a positive way during this downturn? It's referring to the economy, governments, things like that. I'm not fearful and pretty prepared and about as ready as I can get, but a lot of people aren't. I feel like you could give some examples of how you turn your fear into something positive. And a lot of people can use this with their circumstances and use it for the positive. So I want to get something extremely clear before this video really takes off. I believe in Jesus Christ. Now, there's a big difference. I asked Jesus to be my savior and help me. And there is a big difference between someone like me that is constantly trying to be a better version of myself and having to ask for forgiveness and having to forgive others, and a big difference between someone like that and someone that goes to church and is self-righteous and wants to throw the book at you all the time and tell you how bad you are and how cool they are. All they are is ignorant and selfish and full of themselves. Type 2, if you understand what I'm talking about. So just because somebody goes to church doesn't mean they're perfect. Obviously, as a matter of fact, none of us are. And one thing that religious zealots will tell you is fear not. God says not to fear. Well, just so you know, every single person has a level of fear. And you have to understand that God actually tells stories of what happens. And this is what I fear the most, is not being ready. Not being ready financially, not being ready spiritually, not being ready all kinds of different ways. And there's a story in the Bible, and then I'm going to tell you some stories about myself. And actually, I'd love to ask you this. If you wouldn't mind, there's two links down below. The link on my X account, because I'm not being suppressed there, if you'd like to follow me there, and our newsletter that goes out twice a week. People are loving it because of the news that's coming out in it. I got to be honest with you, it's turning into its own little news publication. If you'd like to sign up for that, it's free, and there's special offers and all that kind of stuff that happen there. But I do not sell your information. That's one thing I'd never ever do. I'd never do any of that stuff. Okay. There's a story in the Bible that talks about these virgins. I believe it was 6 virgins, and they're all equal, right? In the parable, there's 3 of they all have lamps. They all have these lamps that hold oil, and 3 of them were ready with oil in their lamp. 3 of them didn't have oil, and they said, "Hey, we're supposed to go to this supper, this incredible party, but we can't show up empty-handed. So can you give us some of our oil, your oil?" Now, all of them are virgins, right? So if you think about it, the purity, and they're all equal, right? In that sense. However, they're unequal because 3 of them don't have anything in the lamp. And they say, "Sorry, we're not, we brought it. We're not going to give it to you." And they go off to the feast and the supper and the party, and the other 3 are left behind. And I think it's very important that people understand that parable alone and how important that is. Where you could have all these good intentions in life, but if you aren't prepared, you're going to face the consequences of an unprepared person. Now, I think there are levels to you're like, hey, you know what? Let's just give you an example. In the Bible, it talks about how I believe it was Joseph had interpreted a dream for Pharaoh where there were going to be 7 years of great times. All this, the crops were going to grow, everything was great, and then there were going to be 7 times that were barren. And Pharaoh actually took that dream very serious and said, "Hey, Joseph, I want you to start storing up during the good times." You know how hard that is? Most human beings, when there's good times, they always think they're going to be good. They never think to set aside, store stuff up. And that is a type of fear, because you're like, hey, I'm afraid that if I don't store things up, those 7 years are going to take me out. You know how many people, like we talk about this all the time in America, how human beings only have like less than $500 in a savings account. They don't even have enough money to fix a transmission if it blew. They'd have to go to a credit card, right? And those instances have actually taken people out financially before, to where a couple years later they're finding themselves in bankruptcy court because it's snowballs, right? It's interesting because people tell me all the time in this channel, or not people, like the 1% of tools I told you that are on this channel. You can see them down. There's 1% of scammers. They're all over trying to steal your money, pretending to be me. And there's 1% of complete morons out there. And they just, spout off the stupidest stuff. And they love to say this one thing, the love of money is the root of all evil. There's more to life than money. I'm like, what's funny about that is money is so important that God says it's the only thing you're allowed to testament. Because once you figure that out and you break those chains of bondage around you, you can move on to healing and all kinds of other cool stuff. But it actually says the love of money, right? Well, how can you love money if you give part of it away? Can I get you to ponder on that for a second? How could you love money if you give a portion of it away? Every dollar that comes in, if you were to give a portion of it away, and as the money grows, the portion you're giving away is larger. How could you love money if you give a portion of it away? The people that tell me that, they don't even know what tithing is or do it. You can't love money when you give a portion of it away. There's a statistic, and you don't have to go to church to do this, okay? I understand a lot of you, including myself, get burned all the time by people who go to church, okay? There's a lot of idiots that go to church. I'm just telling you. There's also a lot of idiots that don't go to church, right? So let's just get that through clear. If you use that as an excuse, then maybe you're the idiot. All right. Hey, we all got to look at ourselves in the mirror. I've had to do it myself and go, Ninja, are you the idiot? But you think about it, my whole life in 2010 and 2008 showed me a lot. Sure, I sold all my homes in '05, and I knew it was crashing and I nailed it, right? Just like the dot-com crash. I knew it was overheated. I sold most of my portfolio, or my retirement portion. I put into a fund, a bond fund, and waited that out. But the thing is, I didn't truly know why it was happening. I had a feeling it was happening. It wasn't until 2010 I really started to get this fear of like a market meltdown, like the Great Depression. And I started getting ready. Now, look at what's happened since 2010. Nothing really. Matter of fact, it's been a lot of abundance because of low interest rates. Nothing has happened really negative, right? But what's funny is, to all the people that would have mocked me over the years, saying, "Oh, look, it never happened." I'm richer than all of them. Because during that time, what I was doing was I was storing up some food. You can only have so much food. I had 6 months worth. I got myself a generator. I was a prepper, right? But then I stopped and I kept saving money. And then I took the money and I caused it to grow here and I caused it to grow there, because I had some oil in my lamp. My oil was money, right? And it just kept growing and growing to where there were no limits to what I could do, because like the person mocking me down the street saying, "Oh, you're a fearmonger," and all this stuff, that person had to go to work when I could take the day off and go and experience life, where I could take an opportunity. And I think that people really need to realize that. There was a post that came in on X. Check this out. Now think about this, and I want you to put yourself in this situation. This is what I live for. Like, this is what I live for now. All right. Try and get through this. This is someone that goes by the name Dexter Cattle. He said, I was unemployed and broke when you first started. He's referring to the YouTube channel. So he was one of my first subscribers because this is the 4-year mark of the channel. He said, 4 years later, perfect credit. I hold 550 ounces of silver and 5 cryptos worth about $15,000 now, but waiting for that to explode. I know it's not a lot from where I was. It's not. He was skipped a couple words. I know it's not a lot, but it's a lot from where he came from. Thank you. I'm a longtime subscriber. And then you've got to just, the comments from you guys are just so uplifting and so amazing. It's just insane. Well, the thing is, I receive, and I keep them coming, but I receive these emails every day and posts. And I can't get over that someone like me could have went out on the internet and said, hey, I think you guys need to get out of debt. You need to buy a little bit of gold. Look at silver. Look at Bitcoin. Let's pay off your mortgages. And you listen. And it's not me. It's not me. It's a gift that God gave me because I'm a watchman. And so that's not me. I had to be the one to hit record and speak, right? Every single one of you have a gift from God. You just all haven't used it yet. And I'm going to ask you this. If you know what your gift is, can you just type it down below? And type it out loud because it's important to say it. You know, my gift is to inspire. And that's probably why I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I could give a rip what people think about me. It's so funny. All the comments I get about fake tears. If you only worked with me as a firefighter, you'd know the truth. But here's the thing. You know what I fear? I fear leaving this world and not having God look at me and go, well done, good and faithful servant. We only got so much time on this earth. And, I want to be wealthy and I want to feed a nation. And I know that I can do that. I can do all things through God. And I know you can too. That's all I wanted to tell you today. I think every single one of you, wherever you are today, whether you're at work right now, whether you're in the car, whether you're, stop and write it down. What are you doing right now? You're working in the garage? I'm curious what you're doing right now as you're hearing this, because I'm honestly, I believe this. This is your moment right now. After this video, just take a couple of seconds, maybe a few minutes, and just go, am I doing everything I'm supposed to in life? Because I'll tell you what, the hard work that you do today, you're going to benefit from it down the road, not tomorrow. See, nothing's guaranteed to be fast and easy. That's why we have a slave class of employees. They want instant gratification. You go to work for someone, you go work for the man, you get a paycheck. The eagle poops every 2 weeks. That's what we used to say at the fire service. When you want to gain wealth and influence and help people, it's actually all this hard work with no instant gratification. That gratification comes down the road. So I don't know about you, but I want to change the world. And I want to leave this place better than I came into it. So if you're ready to do that, type 10. No, screw it. Type 11 because 11's louder. You guys know what that's from. And it's true. Let's notch this thing up to 11x because I don't like the 10x. I just don't like the 10x thing. I'm 11x. Hope you guys got something out of this. If you'd like to follow me on X, I'd appreciate it. They're not they're not holding the ninja back. And if you'd like to sign up for the newsletter, all it is a compilation of my videos twice a week, plus news that's going on throughout the world. It's a really cool thing. People are thanking me for it, and it's keeping the views up since YouTube's keeping it down. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for your amazing comments. I hope you got something out of this. I fear not being ready. And that's a good, healthy fear. All right, with that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.